Hello everybody, congratulations, you've reached part 3 of my tutorial for Nuvole Bianche by Ludovico Einaudi. My name is Maiber and here's what we're gonna learn in this part. Now you can already see it looks pretty similar to the last part. The only thing is that the left hand changes a bit. It doesn't only play chords, but it plays them back and forth. And the right hand changes a bit as well. So last time we left off at this part. So on this note, that was the last note you played with the right hand. Okay, so let's start with the left hand of the third part. The left hand basically plays the same chord as before, just a little bit differently. It doesn't play all 3 notes at the same time, but it plays them like this. F, C, F, C, F, C. Alright, so that's 6 notes in total. I always like to think that you play 3 notes twice. So you play those 3, and then you play those. So in total it'll be 6. Alright, and then you get faster and faster. Now you play this whole thing twice for every chord. So. And then you jump down to the next one. You probably still remember that this is going to be the second one, and you just do exactly the same. Then you go up to the next chord. And to the last one. Alright, that is the whole left hand of the third part. Right hand stays almost the same, there are just a few changes in there. You start again on B flat and play A flat 3 times. You do that 4 times in total. And then after you played A flat the third time, you jump up to D flat. And after you play D flat, you play C and E flat together. Alright? And after you played C and E flat together, you play C once more. Okay? So let's listen to that once more. So after you did this, you basically play C once more, so you play it twice. After C and E flat, you play C twice. Then after you played it the second time, you go up to D flat again, and back down to C and E flat. I know that sounds pretty complicated, but just try to remember all these steps. Won't get that much easier. You can leave away this E flat if it is really confusing you, because it was confusing to me in the beginning. So you can leave that away if you don't like it. But if you want to play it the way Ludovico Einaudi wrote it down in his sheet music, then this is the way to play it. Let's listen to that once more. So this is the thing that changes in the third part with the right hand. After this, it just continues normally, like this. Okay, so I'll just play that once more very slowly so you can follow and try to remember the order of the notes. Okay, and then the right hand continues, and there is just one very little change in there. So you play again. So you already know this, going down to G and F. Now, after you play the C 3 times, in the last part you just went up to D flat, and instead of just going up to D flat, you also play the E flat down here. Alright, and that is the only change. So. Now I can leave this E flat down here away if it is too confusing to remember when to play it with the C, when to play it with the D flat, because it is kind of confusing and kind of complicated. It's just to make it sound a little bit nicer, but you don't necessarily have to do it exactly at this point. Okay, so now let's see how you put both hands together, because that's the most difficult part, I think. Now I found out that there is a small pattern in there. And that pattern is that you never play a note on the right hand when you play the upper note with your left hand. So there is no right note on this one, on this one, on this one, and this one. But every time you play one of those, one of the lower two notes, you always play something on the right hand. So that could be one thing you can remember that is maybe making the song a bit easier for you. So let's start with just the first chord. You play that first chord twice, you remember that, right? So let's see how the right hand fits in there. You start with the left hand at the same time. Alright, so what do we have here? We have B flat and A flat 3 times. Again, B flat and A flat 3 times. And that is with the first half. On the first chord. And as you could see, you never play something on this upper note. So maybe try to play every time you play F and C down here. Always try to play the next note on the right hand. Alright? I think that is a little bit easier than to explain when to play the first A flat, the second A flat, the third A flat. I think that would rather confuse you even more. So let's listen to that first chord again. Alright, so after this you go down to the second chord, and as you know the right hand just stays the same. So we had this. Alright, and then you go up to the third chord, and now it gets a little bit complicated. Now jump up to D flat, and then down to C and E flat. So you can remember that every time you play E flat with your left hand, you also play C and E flat with your right hand. Just remember those two E flats, they're playing together. Alright, and then you go down to the 4th chord and you also do the same. You never play something on this upper E flat. Alright, and that is actually everything for the first half. So let's listen to that again very, very slowly. Now playing that 4th chord really slowly is difficult even for me, so don't worry if you struggle in the beginning. You'll just get into that and you'll do it faster and faster. Now I'll explain basically the next thing. That one is exactly the same as the one before, just with some other notes on the right hand. So I'll just play that really, really slowly so you can follow along and just practice that as well. Alright, and that was already it. Now practice that until your fingers know this by heart and you don't even have to look at your keyboard anymore or your piano. And yeah, just go back in the video if you forgot something, if you don't remember the right or left hand. Just try to practice that before you do both hands at the same time. And then you'll just, if you know the left hand, if you practice that a lot and you can play it really fast, then it'll be no problem to add the right hand. So yeah, that was it for this tutorial. If you got any feedback, what I could do better in the next part, just post a comment or write me an email or write me a letter or send me a bird with a letter attached to it, whatever you want to. And I will see you guys in the next part. And here's what we're gonna learn there.